Happy Sunday, folks. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Welcome to Tea Time with Dr. IYABO with my guest, Georgina Onuoha. I hope I pronounced her name well. Hello, everyone. This is Tea Time with Dr. IYABO on Sunday, November 14th. Sunday, November 14th, and I have a special guest on for you. You guys need to start tagging all your girlfriends. Start tagging all your girlfriends. We're talking about self-love and self-improvement in African women. So, when I say African women, you know that I'm referring to all Black women, right? All Black and brown women. And even if you're a white woman, pull a chair and sit down and let's talk. We're all women, right? I know that the topic for today is self-love and self-improvement in African women, but all women are welcome. All women are welcome. So pull a chair, get your tea. Look, I already have my tea because it's called Tea Time with Dr. IYABO, and my tea has a big heart in the middle. Okay, I'm sending love to all of you because life is all about love, right? So get your tea ready, get your scones ready, and let's chat about self-love and self-improvement in African women. And like I said, all women are welcome. Yes, we are going to be talking specifically about African women, which honestly encompasses all women. It encompasses all Black women all over the world. And whenever you have questions for myself or Georgina, please type them. But please type them in the question box. I will try to get the questions as much as I can. So I'm going to bring Georgina on without further ado. Georgina on. And we're going to start. So everybody, welcome. When I bring Georgina on, I'll introduce. Hi, Georgina. How are you?
Morning from California.
Wow.
How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm telling you, this is such a wonderful day for me. I've been waiting for the day that I'll come live with you because you're such a sweetheart. I can feel the love and the warmth and your personality even through the virtual space.
Oh, thank you so very much. I'm humbled, and I'm so looking forward to sharing this time and space with you today. I listened to some of your talks and the messages. I will say thank you for all you do for everyone. You're sharing so much knowledge, and I appreciate that about you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love what I do, and I can see that you love what you do too, because you do a lot. You are that authentic African voice as well, because I like a lot of your posts. A lot of your posts talk about real issues. You talk about real issues and you keep it real. And this is why people love my platform. They're like, Dr. IYABO, we don't know how you keep it real, but you keep it real. And I said, but that's how we're going to change the world. We have to keep it real.
I mean, given, like you said, we're Nigerians, given the backgrounds we both have, even though we're all in America, we understand the fact that we are not raised to sugarcoat issues.
Yeah.
We are raised to say as it is, and by others might frown at it, others appreciate it, and I've just made a conscious decision to stay true to self, to speak my truth, regardless of how people perceive it or take it. So, and like you rightly said, if we're going to change the world, we ought to be able to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. So that's where I stand, and that's what I try to use my platform for, which means speaking the truth. Don't quote it. It might not sit well with others, but those who want to receive it will receive it regardless.
Absolutely. And this is why we're similar. This is why we're similar. And this is why we're changing lives. You are changing lives. I'm changing lives. But we have to speak the truth. Yes, in a respectful way.
Correct.
In a respectful way, but we do have to speak the truth.
Exactly.
Because, politically correctedness, oh, don't hurt them, don't hurt these people, oh, don't say that. But how are we ever going to make changes? How are we going to change this world for our great grandchildren coming after us if we don't speak the truth?
To speak the truth, to speak up and speak out. Like Martin Luther King once said, your silence or it as it is emboldens whoever is, perpetrating whatever message you're trying to pass. So we ought to learn to speak the truth.
Yes. Yeah.
Addressing issues that affect people's life directly or indirectly, the ability to speak the truth with integrity is very, very essential. So I agree with you.
Yes, I love that word, integrity. So, Georgina, a lot of your platform, of course, they know who you are, but there's people from my platform here who probably don't know who you are. So can you please tell us who you are? Who is Georgina? Who is Georgina Onuoha, this beautiful woman that we see on her Instagram feed, who just dresses up and glows up her whole Instagram feed every single day? Who is Georgina?
I'm flattered. Well, to your followers, my name is Georgina Onuoha. I'm a Nigerian American. Igbo. I'm from eastern part of Nigeria, but I was born, raised, and bred in Lagos. So I'm a Konimi. So let me put that aside.
You even inserted some Yoruba. I love that.
But I'm one anonymous. So I'm a girl from a humble beginnings. Who walked my way through, to the top or to wherever it is I am today. I come from a family of 6. I'm the 5th child. I'm the only one here in the state. Prior to moving here to the state, I worked as an actor. I was a child from way back in the 90s till when I took a sabbatical to raise and start up a family here in the state. I'm a college graduate. I finished from Lagos State University. I studied history and international relations, double majors. I have associate in international law and diplomacy. When I moved down to the state to raise my family, I took classes in healthcare administration. I'm a certified health information specialist when I did my master's degree in health information management. So I work as a consultant in the healthcare industry, dealing with all the pros and cons, like doctor knows, doctor as clinicians, we hold them accountable when it comes to transmitting the care and every other thing. So basically, that's what I do. And I also own my businesses. I'm into healthcare businesses. I have a childcare business and I have an adult care business. I'm a mom to 2 beautiful daughters who are both in high school. And I use my platform to advocate for human rights, women's rights, and people's rights, whatever I feel that needed to be addressed, either home or abroad. So I try to chime in and give my opinion, unbiased and unreserved opinion about how I see things and view things and the impact they have on us directly or indirectly. So that's who Georgina is, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Yes, wonderful. That was wonderful. It's funny that we also have that in common. That we have 2 daughters. I have 2 daughters too. Yeah, I have 2 daughters, but my older one is about to be 24 in a couple of weeks, and the younger one is about to be 18.
Oh, congrats! Well, my daughters, my oldest is going 18, and the little one is going on 14. So they're still teenage, young, high school.
Okay, yeah, and I know this is not a positive thing to say we have in common, but I did go through a divorce, and I was divorced for 10 years. But by God's grace, I did meet my honey I didn't meet him last year. I met him 3 years ago, and we got married last year, and I inherited 2 sons from him. So now we have 4 kids. We have 2 daughters, and I have 2 stepsons. So yeah, so I think that's something else we have in common. Well, you haven't remarried, right?
No. Well, like you said, we have that in common. It's nothing to celebrate, but it's also something, that has to do with what you just said, loving oneself enough when to bow out in an environment you feel you're not allowed to grow, that is not healthy for your well-being. I was married to a medical doctor like you, a gastroenterologist, for well over 5 to 6 years, and I've been divorced now 10 going on 11 years. On my relationship status, I try to plead the 5th on that one. I share every other thing with people, but when it comes to that aspect. Yes, I am not remarried, but I am not single. I am not dating. I'm in between, and I'm loving that, and I'm thankful for the journey. So
Wonderful. No, absolutely. There are some things we must keep private.
correct, correct.
There are some things, ladies, this is the first lesson of the day. There are some things we must keep private. You know, you don't have to share everything about your personal life,
Yeah.
everything about your bedroom secrets, everything about your mental health. If you have things that are bothering you, they are mental health specialists. And in fact, after I'm done discussing with Georgina today, I'm actually bringing on a mental health specialist to join us because I know some of the things we're going to discuss today. You know, I'm ready. I'm ready to help you guys. I'm fully ready because I know some of the things we're going to discuss today as two African women are going to require somebody to help you with your mental health because that's an issue in African women. Okay, so this is a good time to dive into the topic of the day. As you can tell, Georgina and I are big, big, big on self-love. You can tell if you haven't assumed that. If you follow both of us, you probably can tell we're big on self-love. We're big on self-improvement. We're big on self-growth. We don't put ourselves last.
No,
We put God first.
correct,
Then we come next.
correct, correct.
So tell us on that, Georgina. Tell us why you and I put self-love and self-improvement first after God, of course.
You know, like you rightly said, the word is self-love. You know, most people, you know, we come from a very religious society. If you know Nigeria, you have to do everything to please God. Yeah, we put God above every other thing because He's reigning in our life. But that being said, as a woman or as a human being, you have to learn to love yourself. It's not a negative connotation as to, oh, you loving yourself means you're selfish. No, you have to get to a point in your life whereby you have to make that decision to say, you know what, I'm start loving myself because it's very, very important. If you cannot bring yourself to love yourself, you cannot give love to someone else. You cannot give what you don't have. And when you ask me what is self-love, you know, is the appreciation of oneself that grows from, you know, supporting your own mental health, your physical well-being, your psychological well-being, and your spiritual growth. Putting yourself before others doesn't mean you're selfish. It means you've gotten to a point whereby you know who you are. There's self-awareness of who you are. And if you can be self-aware of the things you need to improve in your life, psychological, social, mental, physical, and emotional, only then are you capable to transcend or translate that or give it to someone else without feeling being used. If I want to help you out of love, I want to help you because I want to help you. I'm not going to help you because I'm obligated. It's a job whereby when I'm done giving you that help, I go about beating myself, you know. So it means, you know, you have to start talking about yourself with love. You have to start prioritizing yourself. You have to give judgment, you know, giving yourself, you know, a break from self-judging, trusting yourself and your ability to say, you know what, I want to do this. Being true to yourself, being nice to yourself, setting healthy boundaries, which, as we know, as Africans or as Nigerian, oh boy, if you don't know how to set boundaries, you will be consumed by everything around you. You know, unlike us living here in the Western world where we can really define family as to what it is, learn boundaries. In Africa, there are no boundaries. In Nigeria, there are no boundaries. Everybody has a say. Everybody wants to contribute. You know, it's a free for all to be opinionated in your life, in your well-being, even what you eat or drink or the people you associate yourself with. So learning to create those healthy boundaries, forgiving yourself when you are not being true or nice to yourself is all part of, you know, self-love as a starter. Being aware and being conscious of who you are mentally, emotionally, physically, and otherwise. So personally for me, I got to a stage or a point in my life where I have to say, you know what, I have to start loving me. And it was when I broke that code I saw a turnaround in my life. And I made a choice that there is nothing you are going to say to me that is going to make me react or get the reaction you want from me, except I want to. So I create the boundaries because I have come to a point of self-love and self-appreciation. So for me, that's what self-love is.
Excellently, wonderfully said. I don't even know, you know, I was getting chills as you were talking because if only, Georgina, if only every woman could get that. If only, if only every woman could get that, how much better would this world be?
It will be. It will be. And that is why it's important for us to keep having these conversations.
Yes.
In our community and within our society. You know, being out there, I've been in the public space since the 90s, regardless of how young I was. So there has been a burden I bear or carry. And it's not getting any easier when I open my phone or social media. My DMs are filled with messages from women who are trapped in
Me too. Me too.
situations. And the question becomes, I can't help you all. I can't make decisions for you. The change you seek starts from you. I understand the difficulties making such decisions as a woman or a Black woman living in Africa because it's a multi-faced, reality or problems. Most of them deal with financially. Finance is the major problem. Why up to that? And the societal stigma.
We will touch on that well today, but keep going, my sister.
Societal stigma of wanting to be different, of wanting to want something different from yourself, wanting to love yourself, because whether you're married or single, if you don't have that self-love which brings inner peace, you can give that to your significant other. You can't transcend that to your children. Everything you've done is done in anger, in whatever.
Yeah.
And foundations of that is the inability to self-love and inability to be self-sufficient. So these are problems we face as African women. And the question becomes, how do we begin to alleviate that within our society and community? For me.
Thank you, Georgina. I love you even more. I had already loved you before I started doing this talk with you. You're my kind of woman through and through. You're my kind of woman through and through. So what we are saying comes easy to us. Right now it does. In my 20s and probably my 30s, my early 30s, well, I got divorced when, I don't even remember, all the numbers are jumbled up, but in my 20s and 30s, I wasn't where I am today, but I was on the path. I've always been a very confident person. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert, I'm a shy person, but I've always been very confident. But that came also from my upbringing. My parents were together until they actually passed away a few years ago, both at the age of 86. I was born into a very positive family environment. I saw love, I saw togetherness in my marriage. My dad was very humble. He served my mom. I just remember all the times he would make my mom tea and put the crackers on the tray, and he'll be walking up the stairs and I'll say, Daddy, bring it, let me take it for you. He'll say, no, 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 no. He'll say, no, no, I'm going to take it up to her. He would serve his wife in bed. I saw all that. It was beautiful, but I didn't see that in my marriage. And I tried as much as I could, but at some point I'm like, okay, enough is enough. Guess who told me that enough is enough, I have to leave? My dear father, my dad. After all the crying and screaming and everything, I remember the day he called me from Nigeria. He said, your mom is sleeping. I didn't want her to hear this because all she's been doing is crying, crying, crying. But IYABO, this is enough. Draw the line. That lawyer you've been telling me about, it doesn't matter how much he's charging. Pay him and let this man go and restart your life. And I listened to my father. And look at me today. I'm 51 years old. I'm in freedom. I have met a wonderful guy, who, by the way, also makes me tea like my dad used to make my mom tea. It's like,
See,
and but
the
women cannot make that decision. Why, Georgina?
I mean, you've just given us a synopsis or summary of what you went through. I actually came into that self-realization at the age of 29, 30, about the
Mhm.
same range.
Yes.
But I was a single mom of two toddlers. My oldest was 3 going on 4.
Hmm.
I'm just 2 going on
Hmm.
3.
Hmm.
I mean, I have always been self-sufficient. Like your parents, my parents have been married for 50 years. They live together, and we saw love, we saw happiness, we saw all of that. And as a young girl, we all prayed or had that dreams of meeting someone who, would do the same thing we saw our dad or our mom doing. So
Yes.
say that it doesn't always happen that way.
Mhm.
And a relationship to work, it takes two to tango. you know I left everything. I was at the prime of my career. I was modeling, I was acting, I was well paid in every Nigerian standard. I was trotting the globe
Mhm.
like I wanted. And when marriage came knocking, I'm like, you know what, I'm young, I'm in my mid-20s, and what, no love, I'm going to take a break and raise a family. And it's a decision I don't regret. I took at that point. Prior to that, I started seeing, I mean, his family gave me hell, and I could not.
No, you could not have gone through the hell I went through with my mother-in-law. No,
Uh,
nobody can
you
go through what I went through with my mother-in-law.
know, you see, I'm writing my book, The Woman I Became,
Hmm.
and hopefully by the end of this year we are. It's taken me.
Amen.
My oldest daughter is going to be 15 years to want to tell my ordeal. And I know my story is not unique, but my experiences, our experiences are unique to us. And when I started, even before I said I do, there was war. I mean, some of my followers are following. I was on the pages of every newspaper with threats to life and everything. And this poor man here is here in Maryland. I was all by myself in Nigeria. A war declared on me, a smear campaign by a sister-in-law for nothing. And I was taking it all with stride. They said silence is golden. No, silence is not golden at times. If I know what I know now, then I will pull the bull by the horn and say, no, you're not going to take my peace away from me just because I want to marry a brother. But then being young, naive, impressionable, for the sake of peace, jejelaye, be quiet, we did all of that.
Mhm.
Coming down here, you would think it will end. The house phone was blaring every day, calling me, you go digger, you this, you that, even after I have left. And all the pressures came to a point whereby I said, this is not working. For me, the breaking point came to when I said, you know what, honey, I want to go work. I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. We never had these conversations. We're okay enough to fend for the kids by God's grace, but I feel I am not resourceful. Just sitting at home in a big mansion, driving Porsches, living like, but there's emptiness. I live here in Sacramento, and most people I've never said a word of this to anybody. My marriage ended because I said I wanted to work. And he said, no, you're not going to work. I said, I will work. When you met me, I was a working young woman and I was successful. I appreciate all you're doing and giving, but I feel this level of emptiness. I'm a college graduate. I have multiple degrees. Even me being at home, the kids are not home. They're all in private school, as young as they were. So what am I doing at home?
Yes.
It became an issue of control. If I have to drive down here, I need to calculate the mileage. Oh, you went out to get the kids from school. How many mileage? The mileage says it was this. I said, oh, really? I have never been used to asking anyone for money. I have always been a self-sufficient child. My parents did not send me to college. I saw myself through college.
Mm.
I brought all of that to the table, and I just want to be chained in the house doing nothing. And I said, no, I want to work. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. That I said, I'm not going to keep asking you for handouts. If I want my basic needs or necessity, I have to come table my hands to you as a man. Say, I want to buy tampons, I want to buy these panties and whatever. Oh, at my own time, I will take you, knowing how busy you are. So I said, you know what? This is not me. There's an emptiness. I want to go back to work. And the words, the day you decide to work, this marriage is over. And so without missing, my marriage ended when I said, I am going to take back my voice and I'm going to go back to the workforce.
Good for you.
And that was it. So
Good for you.
it's
The,
essential.
good for you, Georgina. Good for you. There are millions of women going through the same thing we are going through. Well, that we went through because it's the past for us. My 10 divorced years were the best years in probably the best years in my adult life so far. My 10 divorced years were, oh, they were the best years. I aged backwards. My business went from here. It shot up to 7 figures in revenue, and it has stayed at 7 figures in revenue for 12 years. I was exercising consistently. I got my figure back. I always used to be like, size 2 or whatever. I think I went up to size 8, size 10 American. I went back down to size 4. I started doing Pilates, all sorts. I spoke at the United Nations 3 times.
Awesome.
During the 10 years of my divorce. I started writing. I published my book. I started blogging. I started work with Flow Health. I was hired on Flow Health as part of their medical staff. My 10 years were beautiful years. I dated a lot. Yeah, I met a lot of different men. I was not intimate with them, but I enjoyed a lot of free lunches and free dinners. I was thriving. Oh, by the way, I bought my first house, my first dream house.
I can relate.
Yes.
I am living my best life. I'm not going to, like you rightly said, for me, at 30, I was divorced with 2 kids, no job. I was kicked out of a mansion. I was left on the streets. I mean, I could have called the cops and say, hey, and gotten everything I wanted. But I made the decision to say, for my own well-being, I have to be alive for my kids. Doctor, I went back, they will always say America knows how to humble you. I went back to doing what we call CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant. Put me on the table. I would rather do that than live in a mansion and be a slave. Voiceless, that is being silenced, not because I choose to be silent. I was silenced because if you dare speak up for you, I will deny you everything. I said no. I came from nowhere and made a name for myself, even in the most difficult place in Nigeria. You can't keep me here as a slave. I'm supposed to be a wife, a partner. I'm living this cocoon. I don't know anything. Don't ask me where my mailbox is. Don't ask me where the central. I was living in. When they say sit, I sit. Stand, I stand. Jump, I jump. So when I came to a point and said, who is this girl? I don't know you, Gina. My father would say, I don't know you. You've always been a child out of my 6 kids. You're different. I have always spoken my mind to my father, to my mother. When I say I want to do this, I don't have any regrets in life. Even my marriage ending, it's not, a regret. It's an experience. And I made this self-conscious decision to grow from that. And when I left, the first couple of years was rough because I have, like I said, 2 toddlers, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. Their mental well-being with no assistance from their father, who is a medical doctor, because the plan is, if you think you can go out there and survive, I'm going to subject you to the kind of pain that you will come back on your knees crawling. And I said, I would rather die
Yes.
come crawling back to you.
Mm.
I flip all the burgers I can flip. I will do all the odd jobs. I will put milk and food on the table for my kids. You keep your mansion and I'll keep my kids. The first 5 years was tough. I went back to school to get multiple certifications in every field in healthcare. I was training as a health information specialist. I went back for my master's degree. And yes, I bought my first dream house. I couldn't have done, and in the space of 10 years, best of life and growth. So when people see who Georgina today, don't be quick to say, oh, I want what she have, or I want to. No, you don't want. I don't want you to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
My company is unique, but the message today should be: if you think you're in an unhealthy space, mentally, physically, begin to love yourself. When you can start loving yourself, you will start making decisions that will be beneficial to you, to your partner, to your family, to your children. It's a choice we have to make to love ourselves. And to be honest with you, the past 10 years going on 11 has been the best years of my life.
Yes.
Pick up
Yeah.
daughters, I'm going to go give a lecture in Europe. I'm gone for 1 month. Kids, I want to go to Bahamas. I go. I do not need a voice to tell me, did you go pick up the kids from school to
Yeah.
from 10? How come you have 20 miles on your Porsche Cayenne?
I know. I know. During my 10 years, I traveled the world, Georgina. Those who were following me on Facebook, they know I wasn't on Instagram then, but I used to post all my travels. I traveled, my practice was doing well. I took two of my daughters, we explored. As soon as summer break was on, we will get into, it was just the best trips, the best adventures. We toured the whole of Europe. We toured the Caribbean. We stayed in the best resorts. I enjoyed my life. I was thriving. There was even honestly 2 years that I completely took off dating, and I completely just did not even see any man or have any intimacy, nothing at all. And that was even the best. The 2 years without any kind of intimacy,
6 years.
I felt renewed and refreshed and revitalized. I became closer to God. I started hearing God's voice. I started getting more direction from God. Those 2 years, I'm telling you, they're still my most spiritual years, where I did not have any physical contact with any man. I wasn't dating, nothing at all. And guess what, Georgina? At the end of that 2 year complete break I took, I signed up on Match.com. And within, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, I met my future husband. And everything I had written down, letters to God on what I wanted in a man, what I needed in a man, he brought it to me after I was alone, I guess alone and celibate for 2 years and just focusing on God and focusing on my life.
It's important. You said 2 years. I took 6 years of solitude. I'm using the word solitude. Solitude means my life, everything about my being became a devotion to my children
Yes.
because I didn't have the well to do. For me, at that point, I was thrown out there in the wild. I needed to survive. So mine was 6 solid good years. If you're a man and you say hello to me, then you will say of God.
Thanks, love. Yeah. The same thing with me. I wouldn't even look. I wasn't even interested.
My interest then was God, I want to get to a place of peace. And these two girls, to be the father, to be the mother, to be everything, because already divorce is traumatic. I had a very terrible divorce. It was traumatic. It was painful. And anything that would bring that emotional insecurity or anything that will come and dent, I didn't want no man. And remember, I said I work in pediatric and adolescent psychiatry. So I know the trauma kids go through, because when we sit there, when we do telemedicine, I made a conscious decision to stay away from any man, woman, or anything for 6 good years. So for me, it was a complete life of solitude. By 2006, I said, okay, I'm in 16. Okay, start putting yourself out there and see. I don't even know how a man can toast you anymore, because I feel like, and unlike you, I was so angry with God. So angry. So I could not bring myself to pray to that man called God. He let me down.
That's powerful. Yeah, thanks for being vulnerable to share that, because that's a
Oh,
normal feeling.
oh my God. Why would you let me go through this? Trusted you. I have lived accordingly. I am a sinner, I know, but I have lived by the principles I've been taught. Why would you get me to such pain in a foreign land? I have no mother here, no brother, no father, no father. I hated God. But in that pain, I noticed that everything I was doing, it was becoming easy. There's that guilt. You're mad at God. What is church? If you tell me church, you and I will have a problem. I
Wow.
don't. Even my mom will say, Sunday is mass. I'm a Catholic. Please go to your mass. Leave me alone. You want to take the kids? Go. I shut out totally. The only thing I wanted to see was Benjamin Franklin, to put a roof on that, my children. Any other thing is irrelevant. But gradually, I started seeing, you're doing this, it's working for you. It's not by your own might, Gina.
Yes.
Even though you're angry with God. Then I went, these 5 stages of grief. I started, okay, let me start negotiating with this man called God and see. And when I opened my heart to accepting him back, I started negotiating. Okay, if you do this for me, I will do this. And I started seeing things. And I got to a point where I knew that, Gina, you're angry with God, yes. But what you did not know, that was God was building you up to have that grace and strength. Because if I soften you up, you wouldn't have survived what you did in America with 2 kids. You can easily be on the street. You
Yes.
see people you see, that could have been me. But I brought you this far. My rebellion and towards God, I found God. And to be honest, I have gone from being a religious person to a spiritual person. Today, I have the leisure to say, oh, I don't want to date you. When I go on a date with people 1 or 2 times, I just feel that our vibes and feelings and everything don't align.
Yes.
I fully take a bow and I go. I don't
Yes.
make. And I'm at that point where I say, what, I don't need to be married. I've done that in my prime. What I need now is someone who understands me, that will complete me and will challenge me in the next phase of my life. Companionship,
Yes.
honesty, and respect. So while I have found that, I am yet to take that leap of faith, because no matter how strong we think we are today, there's still that fear of the unknown, because experiences have scarred us. They might not be physical scar, they are mental,
Yes.
they're and they're
Yes.
physiological. And I'm still at that point whereby taking doubles, okay, let me go and say I do, and wholeheartedly submit myself to another human being. It will take special anointing and grace from God to do that. I mean, quote unquote, but I am happy where we are. We no labor, with nothing, just enjoying the peace that comes with it. It's okay for me.
Yes.
And we have to learn that to get to that point to want to say what is healthy for us, how to take ourselves out. It's not easy. It can be said and done. Are you mentally ready to pull the bull by hand and say, you know what? I think I deserve better. I think I deserve better. Yeah, people misunderstand the word. You can love somebody, doesn't mean you're compatible with that person that you have.
Yes.
Love, see, love is, to me, love is when you take away the passion, the romance, and everything, and see the most vulnerable state. That, okay, can I still be with this person? So there's a misconception of this princess shining armor. No, when you want to know truth, when you take away all those passions, romance, and ask, can I still
Yes.
see this person and talk?
Yes.
Reach to that point, then you're ready to love again. So
Yes.
then I'm thankful where I am today.
Yes, this is so powerful. And I love how we're sharing our stories, because storytelling is the most powerful teacher. It's the most powerful teacher. And for me, the book I wrote is titled Permanent Happiness. I wrote it right after my father died, and I wrote it from a place of just total, just total peace, and just total, I don't even know how to call it. And that book, everybody loves it because I shared my heart in it. But I talked a lot about peace in that book. There's nothing like peace. Too many women are not living in peace. Now, we've talked about everything we've talked about. We've shared our stories, but now I want us to end this, and I know your time is valuable. Do you have 5 more minutes? Georgina? Yes. So now, thank you, Coach Armand. Thank you that you love my book. So I know what peace is. Peace is very different from happiness. People strive for happiness a lot, and happiness is good. And like I wrote it in my book, that's actually the beginning quote in my book. The beginning quote is, happiness is good, but it's not enough. Peace is good, and it is enough. Happiness and peace are different. Happiness is, oh, look at that slice of cake. I'm so happy. Give me that cake. I'm going to eat it because me, I love cake. Oh, this cake is nice. I'm going to be so happy. Oh, look at that ice cream. Oh, we're going on a trip to Italy. Oh, yes, I'm so happy. We're going on a trip to Greece. I'm so happy. Peace. Peace is, oh goodness, life isn't going well. I just lost my job. What did the doctor say about this illness? God forbid. Oh gosh, this marriage isn't going well. Peace. Peace is, how can you cope from inside out? How can you cope from inside out and rely on the strength that God gives you to cope, regardless of what's happening around you? That's peace.
You
Because
know,
life is going to happen. There's going to be ups and downs. Peace is when you know that no matter what comes my way, IYABO, no matter what comes my way, I'm going to cope through this. Why? Because I'm God's child. Because God will protect me. Because God has my part. Because God's will be done in my life. Because I'm God's daughter. So therefore, I will be at peace no matter what. I don't care what everybody else is saying or doing or chaos or anything. I will stand in peace through the good times and the bad times. Why? Because I'm self-assured. I'm self-assured because God has my back, and He will decide what's best for me. Yes, I will work at my life. I'm not just going to sit down and not do anything. I will work hard, but I would be at peace regardless. The day you can make that to yourself, you can say that to yourself, is the day that you'll know that you can overcome anything. And it's the day that you'll stop putting up with people who are going to bring down your happiness. Because let me say something, Georgina, and I really want women to listen to this, because there are many women who come to my DM and they're like, my husband is this, he's that, he's very controlling. He doesn't want me to work. He's cheating on me. They have all these things. Some of them, even their husband hits them, he pushes them, he slaps them. I've received all sorts of messages, and I say, but how long do you want to put up with this? Do you have a therapist? Are you guys going to, oh, he doesn't want to go to counseling. He doesn't believe in counseling. He doesn't want to go to counseling. I'm just miserable. And I tell them, I don't tell anybody to get a divorce, but I don't think this is a good state of affairs for you. You have to make a decision. if your husband is not going to go to counseling and this kind of abuse, emotional, physical abuse is continuing, you have to make a decision. And they're like, divorce, but what about the kids? I can't do it. I can't. You know what, Dr. IYABO, for now, I'm just going to ignore him and just continue with my life. And I start laughing. I'm like, 9 out of 10 women tell me that, and it makes me laugh because you cannot ignore somebody that is abusing you. Women, stop saying that.
You know, you
Stop
said the
saying, why do women say that? They say they want to ignore their husband, but you live in the same house. He's making you miserable. You cannot ignore him.
You cannot. You used the word peace when you started. You know, the Bible said, if we're going to quote that, peace that surpasseth everything. The Bible
Yes.
emphasis on peace. And without peace, everything around you, there is a rancor around you. Without peace, even your happiness is a facade you're putting up, because
Yes.
once you come back, you're coming to that misery. But when there is peace, like a river that attended to our soul,
Yes.
you can beat whatever situations. But putting it back to the African culture where you and I come from, most of us saw our parents or people we know staying in abusive relationship because we want to do it for the kids. Dearest, let me tell you something. I know we value marriage, the title of being Mrs. I don't give, I don't have a problem with that. Be your Mrs. It is good. But let me tell you, at what cost are you going to be Mrs. when they're bringing STDs and diseases to you? When they're physically and emotionally abusing you? When you don't even have the respect you deserve in your home as a wife or as a mother? Why are you so much interested to be Mrs. in agony, in pain? I'm not going to tell you to divorce anybody. That is your decision.
Me too. I don't say that.
I did not come to that realization. It took heaven for me to know at that point that I need to go if I need to be alive for my children. It's your choice to prioritize your well-being and your safety. Many people have died in domestic violence for the sake of the kids. But let me tell you what you're doing, dearest woman. Time you say you're staying because of the kids, you are telling your male child that abuse is okay, and you're telling your girl child that it is okay to be abused. You understand? And what you're doing as a parent is that you're damaging them psychologically, emotionally, mentally, that even when they become adults, they think it's okay to endure abuse, or they think someone. So to marriage is okay, but marriage is not an achievement. Don't be eager to be Mrs. Let me tell you one thing I have not told anybody. My parents were both middle-class Nigerians. My father was in the army for 36 years, retired. My mom was a teacher. So we come from what you call a middle-class family. But we became poor when my dad retired. So this woman you're seeing here, for the sake of peace and happiness to feel, I sold ice water on the streets of Lagos. I sold it so we could eat. We were content. That thing is contentment.
Yes.
If you're going to be telling me, I cannot leave the marriage because I cannot provide for my children, my sister, go and sell ice water. Sister, go and sell agege bread. My sister, I did kelebe. There's something we call kelebe 5 in Lagos, which means I have to start crossing rice, steamed tomatoes, and turkey from Benin Republic to Nigeria. We did. So if my mother could do, or if me, like I said, I have to go be a CNA. For those who don't know what CNA is, CNAs are those who work in old people's home and wipe butts. Did it with all pride to put food on the table. Not because it's been easy for me to open my leg as a pretty woman and get any doctor or anybody I could screw to get money and live life. I could do that. But I chose dignity in hard labor. So when women make excuses, even as bad as the economy is in Nigeria, I cannot fend for 3 children, my brother or my sister, especially we women, in African women, marriage achievement is a companionship of 2 others who agree to stay together in mutual respect and mutual love. If that's gone, There's nothing there. And if you're going to be using your children as a yardstick to stay in an abusive relationship or environment, you are abusing your children and you're setting them up for failures. And if you're thinking finances, how do I get it? My sister, you do not have to drive. You see, and that's where I said what we as celebrities do is when we show this extravagant lifestyle, some of it is just a facade. We don't have what we have on social media. I'm really as real can be. My house is a 3-bedroom, beautiful home, worth 140 million naira. But look, in all honesty, I live my peace. So when we are celebrating every day, we're buying cars, we're not telling people that it is not from hard work. These are things we do by the side. So you as an average Nigerian woman, you know, you want to be like that and think if you cannot leave your husband's marriage because your husband is giving you money, don't compare yourself to any other person. If you can sell akara, if you can sell guguru, oba, to take your children or yourself out of a toxic environment, do it for your own good. I tell you, God has a way of rewarding those who work hard. It might be difficult, but you will get there. I am not telling you to go sell pure water because you think I live in America. Let me repeat myself. I sold ice water, not pure water, ice water. Elebe firewall, Aroso. We grew up in Badagry. So there's nothing. I sold a camel. I sold bread. I sold all of that for us to. So I'm not a girl coming to tell you here, go and sell guguru. I sold, but I am where I am today because I was determined to love myself enough to not let someone subjugate me, to take my humanity away because I want to be married to a medical doctor. I want to be Mrs. Somebody. No, it might be difficult, but let me tell you, the God of the mountains is the God of the valley. And you will see when you begin to get to the point whereby you say, you know what, I might live in